Welcome to the Fantasy Football Fanatics Members Bonus Podcast with some combination of your hosts, Griffin Palmer, CJ Hickman, Jason Cabrera, and Ryan Mitchell. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the Fantasy Football Fanatics Bonus Members Podcast, the show where we cover the more in-depth, the user-requested, the advanced topics. As always, I'm your host, Griffin Palmer, joined by CJ the Hitman Hickman and Jason Cabrera. What is up, guys?
Hey, man. It's been a while since I've been in the lounge. What's going on? How's everything?
I hate everything. He never lets it go. Nobody wants it to be called the lounge, CJ.
It is. It's a thing. It's requested on the Twitterverse.
Show me one person who has ever requested that this be called the lounge.
I'll add you.
Okay, you do that. And then we have to verify this isn't someone you're putting up to it.
No.
Anyway.
His name is J.C. Kickman. That's his name, J.C. Kickman.
Wow.
Requested.
Anyway, on today's show, we're going to be talking about some of our top projected rookies for the NFL draft this year. Upcoming first round is a couple days away. So this is a show that, because we've been doing our rankings, we haven't really gotten into the rookies as much as we have in years past. We'll probably put this out to everybody, but guaranteed for the Patreon folks. And we're simply going to go through some of the top prospects for the fantasy relevant ones, talk about them, their upside. We can talk about potential landing spots, just kind of familiarize you guys with these prospects. And of course, the talk of this draft, besides the, obviously the elite, the top running back, is the quarterbacks. Now, many have said that this is a quarterback heavy draft, but a lot of people have said that there's no Andrew Luck, no Carson Wentz in this year's draft, though there's guys that have the upside to be those guys. But there's a lot of guys who could be potential franchise players, and the universal consensus number one quarterback who's going to be taken off the board is generally Sam Darnold. We've been talking about Scam for Sam for a while now. He didn't have the best season last year compared to his 2016 season, but still a very, very good quarterback. 6'3", 221. He's got an incredible arm and widely considered to be the top quarterback in this draft. So, I mean, I think this is going to be a pretty heavy Jason show because Jason's all about that rookie college football life. So, Jason, what are your thoughts on Sam Darnold?
Well, Sam Darnold is your guy that's he's kind of your total package as far as having the highest ceiling along with the highest floor. He's the guy that is probably your safest pick. I say that slowly because I think Josh Rosen is another guy that you would think to be a safe pick because he's a little bit more NFL ready than Darnold would be considered. But I think Darnold has a higher ceiling, so that would make him a little bit more of a safe pick. Overall, he may not be an Andrew Luck, at least not that we know of, because, not even Andrew Luck has been Andrew Luck yet. He hasn't had the opportunity. So he may have a higher ceiling than Andrew Luck has had throughout the first several years of his career. So we don't know. I like Sam Darnold. I think he will probably be the first quarterback off the board.
I think most would agree with that. He, like you said, he's the guy who has the highest floor and the least question marks around him. I wish we had gotten to see more at the Combine, but, his body of work and his pro days and everything have kind of told the story of what we're expecting. So, solid quarterback, a lot of upside, most likely going to be a Cleveland Brown, I would imagine. And I would love to see him with those weapons because I think that he'll actually be pretty viable with that wide receiver core with the Browns. CJ, do you have any thoughts here?
It's just going to be interesting to see where he goes. Overall, I like the quarterback play there. I think he's one of the best coming out of this class. I just, I just want to know if the Browns are going to Browns it up again, and if they are have a little doubt about this position, and knowing that they have the fourth pick, that they might, skip this and pick a safer pick, like and maybe a Barkley one, and then come back at the quarterback position at 4. I think they like at least 3 guys. I think they like at least 3 guys. And if their first 2 guys are not there, then of course I think they'll go their third guy at 4.
Yeah. Again, I don't think there's too much to dwell on with Sam Darnold because we all kind of expect this to be the case. The number 2 guy on my list, and not on everybody's, and this is probably going to be a point that we will debate here, is Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker Mayfield is a guy who has off-the-field issues, and, of course, he's got some height concerns, where Sam Darnold's 6'3", next guy on our list is 6'4", for instance. Baker Mayfield is 6 foot tall, which really shouldn't make that big of a difference. We've seen shorter quarterbacks be very good in this league, a la players like Drew Brees, things of that nature. I'm not saying he's going to be Drew Brees, but to me, actually watching the tape and looking at a lot of analytics are showing that Baker Mayfield is possibly the most talented quarterback in this class, but he has so many question marks around him, he's definitely going to be taken probably later in the draft. But I believe that if we put that stuff aside, I think Baker Mayfield will be the second quarterback off the board. I would imagine that he probably goes, I don't know, where do you guys think? I think the Jets take him, honestly, at 3. Because I'm expecting the Giants because the Giants said that they wanted Sam Darnold, and if he's not there, I expect them to take Saquon Barkley, who we'll talk about. So I expect Baker Mayfield to go number 3 overall to the Jets. Jason, what are your thoughts? I know you feel differently here.
Well, Baker Mayfield should not be the second quarterback off the board. He shouldn't even be the third quarterback off the board, honestly. I don't think he's as talented as you're giving him credit for. This is the kind of quarterback, in my opinion, that shined in college, and when he gets to the pro level, he's not going to shine quite as brightly as he did in college. Not necessarily as much of a bust as Tim Tebow ended up being, but something along those lines. However, I think that he will end up going to the Jets. It's either going to be Rosen or Mayfield to the Jets. I think Rosen's a better quarterback. I think he's a safer play. I think he's NFL ready right now. Josh Rosen could start right now in the NFL. He wouldn't necessarily be an elite level quarterback, but he would be start worthy and a solid choice. So I would like to see the Jets take Rosen. I think he would be a better fit for them. But Baker Mayfield, if you look at stats, and so it doesn't surprise me that you're a big fan of his, of Griffin, because if you look at stats, yes, you're like, wow, look at that. Those are college stats. They don't translate.
No,
and we've seen that many, many times. Tim Tebow had amazing college stats. And then when he got to the NFL, it didn't translate. So, as much as I disagree with you that Baker Mayfield shouldn't be the second quarterback off the board, it is a very good possibility that the Jets will take him.
Now, I've seen a lot of comps to Johnny Manziel, but Baker Mayfield is a way better passer in basically every single way. The stats are there. I mean, over his last 2 years, he threw for no more than 8 interceptions, no fewer than 36 touchdowns, which is huge. He had a 70% completion rating, which is massive. He is mobile. He's got a lot of comps to Russell Wilson, though I think Russell Wilson's more of an athlete than he is. I think he's a little more explosive. But I like Baker Mayfield's ability to throw as a pocket passer, hyper accurate, great arm, good at timing routes, good anticipation. Throwing it downfield, he had a average yards per attempt of about 11 yards, which is I think the largest out of this class. And his legs give him the ability to extend plays and maybe run the ball as well. So I really, really like Baker Mayfield, and I've seen a lot of analysts that have even said that if he was about 2 inches taller, he of course didn't have the off the field issues, he would be the number 1 prospect in this draft. Of course, the Heisman Trophy winner. So Baker Mayfield, a huge prospect here. CJ, do you have any thoughts?
I was like to say Baker Mayfield was like the story of your life. It's just a couple inches taller. You'd be one of those guys.
That's unnecessary.
That's it.
Yeah. So listen.
You're like an inch taller than me, CJ.
Damn.
So listen, Baker Mayfield.
Damn.
I got him.
I got him
going either to the Jets, like you guys said, or to the Dolphins. I think his intangibles, either one of those two places, he'd be good. I mean, he doesn't have to be pushed to start in both places. I mean, because they got quarterbacks there, and I think I like his fit more with the Jets versus the Dolphins, especially with the current regime there in Miami. I just don't feel like they have any direction going on. So yeah, that's those 2 places I can see him going.
I do like him going to the Dolphins. I could see that. You don't think that the Broncos would try and snatch him up?
No, they don't. They don't.
I don't know. I don't know, John. I don't know what John has. I think whatever pick the Broncos get, they're gonna flip it around, and then just like we've been listening to John Elway. He's been one of this guy the whole time, and he's been patient. He finally gets his guy. I don't know. Man. No. Broncos that's another organization that's that's kind of blowing me.
This
as
one's
far as
not
what they want to do.
is what
This
you're
is
telling
not
me.
for John.
No, I would say I agree because I think that John Elway is going to draft with his heart, and I think that the moment that Josh Allen threw that beautiful pass at the combine, I think that became his guy. I think he wants Josh Allen. I think they're going to trade back because I think Josh Allen's going to be there later down the line. Because for me, getting ahead of ourselves here, Josh Allen to me is the 5th quarterback in this draft class, and we'll get there. He's incredibly low passer. Okay, nope. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll get there. Next guy on our list is Josh Rosen. Now, Josh Rosen, in a lot of circles, if you take all those negatives into effect with Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen generally, for those people who are letting that weigh into their decision making, slides in as the number 3 or the number 2, and I have him here as my number 3. He's a very good traditional quarterback. He's being compared a lot to players like Matt Ryan, which I can totally see. A guy who has a good arm, he could lead the offense. Not the most explosive playmaking, stretch the field type guy by any stretch, but a good traditional quarterback, 6'4", which is great for vision. I like Josh Rosen, and of course this guy is really, really smart, which some people annoyingly, this is what's been irking me, are saying that that's a negative because he asks questions. He wants to know why, which, what?
We don't like the intelligence around here.
Yeah.
Not being smart.
I hate that narrative because you think about the super smart quarterbacks in this league who therefore are super good. You think Tom Brady doesn't ask questions about why they're doing things a certain way? Come on. So,
Peyton Manning.
Yeah, Peyton Manning, prime example. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers has his say. Drew Brees, all those elite guys, lead the offense. I'm sure they have answers to all of their questions. So, yeah, he's a rookie. I get it, but I love that drive, that knowledge to know more, and I think that will help him through in his career. So, Jason, what are your thoughts here?
I agree with you. I like Josh Rosen. He's going to be a good, solid quarterback. Again, he's not going to wow you up and down the field. He's not a Josh Allen. He's not going to be able to throw the ball 90 yards or anything crazy like that. But he is a solid quarterback. Somebody that that's why I like him at the Jets, because I think the Jets need just a solid player, somebody that can come in and be a leader, lead the offense, be smart, and kind of help that team get to the next level. As far as, I'm not sure where this list is you're getting from, so I'm shocked.
This is my list that I put together.
Weird. Oh, this is your, no wonder. Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, I have not seen this progression in this list before.
Oh, I've seen it on a lot of sites. I'll link you some. I'll help you out, buddy.
You don't have to, because none of them are going to be reputable. So anyway,
dang.
I like Josh Rosen going third. Going as the second quarterback off the board, going third to the Jets. I think that would be a nice, solid pickup for them.
I mean, I could see him going third to the Jets. I also see a world where he goes 5th to the Broncos, or maybe
he could.
I could see
if Allen's gone, it's a possibility for sure.
I could see the Bills trading up and trying to get their hands on Rosen, honestly. So
sure.
I think these are my range of possibilities. It could obviously be all for nothing. He might go down and be picked up at 11 by the Dolphins. Who knows? But we'll see. CJ, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's places where I think he probably is going to go. I got Bills as one spot. Jason, I'm sorry. I mean, I see Cardinals maybe too.
No,
I know you don't want it.
I think the Cardinals are
no,
taking.
It's not that I don't want it. It's just I don't think. First off, I don't think he's going to get all the way to 15.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
What?
He would have to slide really far, or we would have to trade up. And I don't think we believe enough in him to trade up for him. So I don't see that as a possibility.
I think we see 4 or 5 quarterbacks go in the top 10 to 12 picks, so I don't think he'll be there.
Yeah.
I honestly have the Cardinals taking Calvin Ridley at 15, top wide receiver in the draft. So we'll see.
Okay.
Again, we'll see. We're not that far away from the draft, so that'll be kind of the fun thing. The next guy on my list, and this is where it gets interchangeable, and it depends on what you're looking for. It could be either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson, obviously, super athletic.
That is insane.
It could go either way.
Interchangeable.
Okay. Exchangeable might be the better word for here, depending on what you're looking for, what your team wants. Lamar Jackson, a former Heisman Trophy winner, more athletic, more of a usable in different aspects type quarterback. Josh Allen, the guy with the freaking cannon for an arm, but not very accurate. He had about a 50% completion percentage. So, Jason, you clearly want to talk about Josh Allen, so let's dive in on him. Josh Allen, the almost 6'5" quarterback with a cannon of an arm, just not super accurate. Why do you love Josh Allen so much?
There's several reasons. First off, this is a guy that came into an organization and turned the organization around.
In college.
Okay, Wyoming was not a good team. And this guy came in there and basically put this organization on his back, being a young quarterback, and, won games for them and did a lot of great things. He was a leader. Not only that, he has probably the best arm that we've seen coming out of the draft in a very, very long time. This dude is legit with his arm strength. Every time he throws the ball, he wows somebody. Okay, and the only thing that's even come close recently would be Patrick Mahomes, who has a really nice arm as well. But I would say Josh Allen has an even stronger arm than Mahomes does. But this is a guy that also has a good head on his shoulders. He's a prototypical size, 6'5", as we've already said. He's a big guy. Okay, but not only that, he's also a kind of guy that will throw an interception, turn around, and throw it again. He'll keep throwing the ball until he finds his receiver and gets down the field. Okay, so we're talking about someone who has a short memory, someone who will throw an interception and continue to throw the ball. He doesn't shy away. I like that. I think that's very important for the NFL that you're able to do that. As far as if we're making lists, I would say that Josh Allen would have the highest upside of anybody on this list. If you can get control of him now, and also look what happened in the combine. He was the most accurate passer in the combine. He threw better than Sam Darnold. Yes, he did.
Sam Darnold didn't throw at the combine.
At his pro day.
Okay,
Sam
at the
Darnold's pro day.
Oh, there you go.
He threw better than Sam did at the pro day. Okay, and he threw better than everybody else that was there. Okay, and you can all you want, but that is the truth. Everybody saw it. It was a completely understood thing that Josh Allen was the best quarterback at the combine. Period. So overall, this is a guy with the highest upside of anybody in this draft. And if he can sit behind somebody with good mechanics, he can learn those mechanics, get that accuracy under control. This guy's ceiling is ridiculously high.
See, this is where it gets interesting, and why I think he's kind of polarizing, because I completely disagree with you. Not across the board, but for the most part. I mean, so looking at it statistically, for starters, he completed 50.
You can't look at it statistically. That's the problem. He's going from NCAA to the NFL.
I let you talk. Let me talk. He had a 56% completion rating, which was the lowest of the top five quarterbacks in this draft class. For having such a cannon of an arm, his average yards per attempt was only 7.5 yards, 7.8 to be exact. Many resources, and some of these are exact quotes, are saying that he is the worst progression of his offense in the league. His mechanics are a mess. Just a lot of things.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
They are. Look at his footwork. But I mean, obviously,
no one has ever said his mechanics are a mess. You're making that one up.
I am not. I can cite again dozens of sources. But again, he has a cannon of an arm. But we've seen a lot of these guys that have cannons, maybe not quite like his, but they're not able to reel it in. They're not able to adjust to the NFL level. Could he? Absolutely. And then would he be an amazing quarterback? Absolutely, and therefore that's the appeal, and that's why I think somebody's going to take a shot on this guy. But I think for risk-reward, that's why I have him down here, and I don't think I'm crazy for doing so. But we've both pled our cases. CJ, what do you think?
Well, listen, man, I think a lot of teams fell in love with Allen at the combine.
I agree.
He put up some good numbers. He showed off that rocket of the arm. He was accurate that day. I mean, he was on that day, and I think a lot of coaches wanted to see that. So now, I see him being that guy that Cleveland probably gets. I mean, I think they'll probably take I could see them taking a shot at him instead of Darnold, and then doing whatever they want to do it for. But if he doesn't go there, then of course I can see him going to the Jets as well, and some other spots that he says. But I just think that teams took that pro day and they were just like, wow, enamored by it, and then they're probably put him up a little higher than what he probably should be, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I guess time will tell. I will also say that he can move the ball with his legs. I mean, in his college career, it's 767 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. So that's something to take into account, that it's not all arm, but obviously that's what they're going to want him to do. So that's Josh Allen. We'll leave it as it is because we're just going to dwell on this all day. And we'll talk about the other guy, Lamar Jackson, former Heisman Trophy winner, a guy who's been compared to Michael Vick most commonly, a guy who some people are trying to get him to do wide receiver stuff because he's that kind of athlete. He's a quarterback. He said he's a quarterback. He's going to play as a quarterback, and I like him as a quarterback. So I'll just throw this right to you, Jason. So we talked about Josh Allen. What do you think about Lamar Jackson?
I like Lamar Jackson's upside, very high upside. You mentioned Josh Allen's ability to stretch the field with his legs. Obviously, this guy's on a completely different level when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
But as I've mentioned many times in the past, I don't care. I don't care how well the guy can run. And that's a lot of people's talk about, oh, he can do things with his legs. I don't want him to do things with his legs. He's in the NFL. Just like we talked about guys in the NCAA, he's running around people and running down the field and running. It's, oh, look at that running. He does that in the NFL, and some safety that weighs 240 pounds is going to slam him, or 220 pounds is going to slam him. A linebacker is going to catch him and slam him. He's going to end up ripping his ACL. He's going to end up out. Okay, we've seen some great running quarterbacks out there that have lasted 2 or 3 years. So I actually really like the fact that he said, you know what, I'm not going to run the 40. Because we all know he could run the 40. The guy is lightning fast. Okay, we saw him. If you watch his tape in college, he's running past everybody like they're a bunch of little kids out there, and he's a man. As far as what he wanted to do in the combine, what he wanted to do, he didn't even do it in his pro day. He said, I'm not running the 40. Because he's telling him, I am a quarterback. I'm going to throw the ball. And I completely agree. I think that everyone who said, oh, he should be a wide receiver, everyone who said that needs to shut up, And I think there were some reasons that they said that definitely do not belong on a football field. And I'll leave it at that. But I'll say this about him as far as his quarterback upside. This is a guy that can scramble and make plays within the pocket. He can get a guy open, throw the ball down the field. His mechanics were not good his first year, but they improved the entire time he was playing. He has always improved. That's the thing about this kid, is that he has always improved. Every year he's improved. And if he goes to a team that has a good quarterback and a good staff in place that can help him with his mechanics, and he can sit for a couple of years, I believe he does have a very high upside. And I would take him 10 times out of 10 over Baker Mayfield.
You want to know an interesting little side stat about Lamar Jackson?
Sure, go for it.
In his college career, he actually rushed for more yards than Saquon Barkley did in his.
Yeah.
That's a crazy stat.
That is a nuts.
Yeah. Wow. And do we want to talk about Mason Rudolph, the number 6, but a guy who has a lot of upside? Or did I just say enough right there?
Well, I'll just say this about Mason Rudolph. He's probably going to go in the first round. I mean, I think there's going to be 6 quarterbacks that go in the first round. There's a possibility for 7, honestly. I mean, that's how deep this class is. But Mason Rudolph is another one of those really solid guys. He had great numbers in college. Don't care. Numbers in college don't matter. What matters is he's a big guy. He's got a good arm, not Josh Allen type arm, but definitely more of a Josh Rosen type of an arm. He's got a good head for football. He's a tough kid. I think he would make someone a really good starting quarterback.
Yeah, he has problems with his mechanics under pressure. I know that. He's not a prolific passer. He's being linked as being one of these guys who could be a franchise quarterback, but most likely will be someone kind of like a A.J. McCarron, a guy who could be but probably won't be, a starting quarterback.
Depending on the system. If he gets into a good system, like look at Tom Brady. I mean, everyone said the same thing about Tom Brady. He's the okay quarterback, but he gets into the right system, he could be very, very good.
I agree, and that's going to be that's one of the reasons why lists like this are kind of pointless, because it all depends on where they go and how they use them. So just breaking them down, we make lists because people like lists. Let's move on to the running backs. We'll go to a couple of the top tier running backs. Of course, the number 1 uncontested top running back, and most would argue the best prospect in this entire draft, running back from Penn State, Saquon Barkley. I don't really know what to say about this guy. Take your favorite stats of any running back prospect over the last decade, and he probably has bested them. So, Jason, what are your thoughts? Oh, wow, we kind of left CJ out for a while now, but I guess we'll keep moving.
Hey, go ahead, CJ.
Yeah.
Wait, man, it's all right. I'm enjoying listening to everything that's going on. I mean, this is Jason's platform.
We got heated a little bit, and I kind of left you out there, CJ. I apologize.
Oh, no, that was funny. I like that. That was enjoyable.
But no, yeah, Jason, tell me about Saquon. Then we'll go to CJ.
Okay. Saquon Barkley. I mean, you already said it. The guy is a freak. He is, and we've said this a lot recently, but he's a generational talent. And let me just say this real quick. You remember a couple of years ago, everybody was saying, "Oh man, no more running backs going in the first round. That's just not going to happen anymore. That ship has sailed. We're never going to see that again." Yeah, no, that was stupid to say. Running backs have evolved and become sort of the linchpin of the offense. They get the passes going their way, they get the handoff, and this guy is the perfect example of that. He is fast, he is powerful. He had an explosive 40, he had an explosive high jump, explosive broad jump. He can do it all. And if you watch his tape, he's not just a good athlete. This guy is a good football player. And I believe he is the top prospect this year in this draft. And which is why I think it is very, very possible that we see Cleveland take him number 1 and go for their quarterback at number 4.
Yeah, I agree. CJ, your thoughts?
Oh, Saquon Barkley, look, man, he's banging, man. He's the guy. I do see him going to Cleveland, but I think Cleveland's going to take him number 1. To be honest, I think Cleveland's going to get him there. They're going to take a little safer pick with that. I don't know I just don't know what it is with them in the quarterback position, man. They just are just a little skittish. Maybe they're like Ozzie Newsome with wide receivers. They just can't get it right. So they want to go a little safer and then take whatever that's left and then make that work with that. Maybe that's how it is. But overall with him, he's I mean, just like Jason said, he's phenomenal. I mean, he's gonna wow. He's a dynasty leagues. You're gonna be set for a lot of years with this guy. You're gonna be set.
Yeah.
I'll put it to this way. He's been described as being the most elusive back to enter the league since LaShawn McCoy, but 30 pounds heavier. He's explosive. Yeah. He's got a powerful lower body. He's got weight, 233, so he's not overweight. I think that's a great weight for his size at 6 foot tall. They're giving his running style comparisons to Barry Sanders, and they're saying he can reach heights as like Marshall Faulk in his prime. This is the kind of comparisons he's getting. Right. They're basically saying the floor for this guy is Reggie Bush, but I don't see any way that happens. And just to point this out to fantasy fans out there, the last rushing leader for the last 2 years has been a rookie, obviously Ezekiel Elliott and Kareem Hunt. And I think this guy is way better than both of those guys. I really like Saquon Barkley, and I hope he goes to a situation where he's able to use his talent, his ability, his size, his elusiveness, his just game-changing talent to be a great fantasy player. If he doesn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's going to be because of injury. That's basically the way I view it, and I assume you guys agree?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Unless one of these quarterbacks pulls a Deshaun Watson and just balls out for some team, yeah, I would agree with you.
Sure.
Could be one of these receivers, too, man. DJ Moore probably.
No,
Cowboys.
None of the receivers in this draft are being compared to like prospects of a couple years ago, like the remember the draft of Sammy Watkins, AJ Green, Odell Beckham Jr. Oh, that was a different draft. Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Evans. Like none of them are getting anywhere remotely to that level of prospect. So I mean, it's possible, but unlikely. Let's go to the next running back, however. Darius Geis. Now, this is a guy who is... They basically have said that if Saquon Barkley wasn't in the draft, this guy would probably be that number 1 guy. And he, though obviously not measurable to Saquon, he is a guy that's been compared to a lot of the other top prospects of recent years, that he could be that Ezekiel Elliott of this draft. This is a guy who outrushed Leonard Fournette in rushing yards back in 2016. And, I mean, he is a powerful runner, and he compares himself to Marshawn Lynch. And honestly, when I watch the tape, I kind of see it. So, Jason, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I don't know Marshawn Lynch. I mean, I think he's a little light to be talking about Marshawn Lynch. But
college running backs always
are. He's a hard hitter. Oh, for sure. But he's a hard hitter. I mean, if you watch his tape, the guy will level you, and he'll smile while he's doing it. The guy loves contact. And you want a running back like that. You want someone that wants to run up the middle of the field and just put a whack on somebody. And that's Darius Geis. Not the fastest guy in the world, but doesn't need to the way he runs. He's a power runner. He's a decent size, someone that can, like you said, someone that could be the best running back in the draft if he wasn't in the draft with a freak like Saquon Barkley. So overall, I definitely like Geis. And the funny thing is his name has been sliding down draft boards recently, and I think that part of that is some off-the-field stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
I like
which
it.
means that he's going to be a really nice he's going to be a really nice pickup for some team that needs a good running back further down the draft board. And if he does make it to 32, I mean, honestly, CJ, and I'm not the fan you are, but honestly, he looks like an Eagle to me.
Oh
they have Jay. They're good. They don't need him.
You shut your mouth, all right? Shut your mouth.
Look, he's definitely a true featured back in the making. I completely agree with that. So, CJ, obviously this is a guy you're praying falls in the draft. I don't see it happening.
Oh, my gosh. Please fall.
But what are your thoughts here?
Oh, my gosh. I'm such a big fan. I'm to the fan to the point that I'm going to go and hack his phone and do like a Laramie Tunsil kind of thing to make sure he falls. That's how much of a fan I am.
I'm doing this because I love you.
I want him. Listen, man. Look, Jay, he's only on the team for another year, and then the way this team's structured, man, they're not gonna invest heavy on a running back as far as financially. So you got to go get the next guy. Man, look, I love him as a runner. He's so physical, like Jason was saying, man. And then he's even better with his hands. I mean, he's a great receiving back too, man. And all of that. Just oh my gosh, Doug Peterson and that Kansas City offense. That's what they love. They strive on their backs, be able to be multi-purpose, man. To be able to great pass blocking, great as a receiver, and great and physical as a runner. I mean, the Eagles and brought him in for a couple workouts. Went down to LSU to do a private workout with him. So, I mean, man, this team loves him, and I love him. I hope he gets down there. But, I mean, like I said, we talked about this early on before our main show. I see some other teams that, been tagged to him, like the Washington Redskins and Seattle Seahawks. So, if they pass on him, I think we got a shot, and I will be ecstatic if we can be able to get him.
I think that the Redskins most commonly, and I agree with this, they've been linked to getting either defensive tackle Vita Vea, or they're going to probably take Darius Geis. Like, I've seen those comparisons pretty commonly. Honestly, I could see him going to the Seahawks, though. The Seahawks have been linked more to defensive players because they're so devoid of defensive talent right now, and that's kind of essential. True. I've seen them linked to a number of edge rushers and cornerbacks because, obviously, they lost a lot of those players this offseason. I've seen Geis linked to the Lions, actually, a couple times. And the Lions desperately, they've been able to run the ball in years. So this could be a game changer for them. And I've seen mock drafts where he falls completely out of the first round, where only one running back goes, Saquon Barkley in the first. So the range of possibilities is massive. And I guess we'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, I think this guy's a franchise player, and whoever gets him is going to be really happy with the results. Next guy on the list is Nick Chubb, a guy who I've been seeing kind of moving up draft boards lately. Have you been seeing that as well, Jason?
Oh, yeah. I've seen Nick Chubb. Okay, so I look at a lot of draft boards, and I've seen Nick Chubb go as high as number 1 overall. Yeah. I've seen people actually put him at number 1 over. Yeah, that was my reaction, too. Like, what?
Yeah. What? This is an amazing running back class. It really is. It's being overshadowed.
It really is a good running back class.
Yeah,
420 all over again? What's happening here?
It's being overlooked by the quarterback class, but the top-tier running backs are insanely good. The reason, of course, he got derailed was because he had a massive knee injury before the 2017 season. That's what kind of derailed his as a prospect. But he had a crazy good combine, which I don't take the combine into account too much, but seeing that he could work out that hard after that injury was very reassuring to me. So, Jason, what are your thoughts?
So, okay, Nick Chubb I like for a lot of different reasons. The first reason is he's a big dude, 5'11", 227 pounds. So he's got a good frame, and obviously he's a young guy, so he is going to get bigger. He's going to put on more muscle, so he's going to be able to do a bit more with that power. Now, again, not the fastest guy in the world. These aren't the fastest running backs that we've seen coming out, but they're powerful. All these guys are power runners. One thing I love about Nick Chubb is he looks like an NFL running back the way he picks his routes, the way he picks his seams. He can find a seam. He runs to daylight. He doesn't seek out the sideline, which is a lot of issues that we had with some of the running backs last year during the draft. They in the NCAA, they would seek out the sideline. They try to go to the sideline and run along the perimeter. He doesn't do that. He goes straight up and down the field. He's a north-south runner. I like that a lot. I think that he's going to make some NFL team very happy.
Yeah, his yards per touch are kind of insane throughout his career in college. He had his freshman year where he ran for 1,547 yards. Holy crap. I mean, through his college career, he's averaged somewhere around 7 yards per carry, which is insane. He's explosive. He's built like a brick wall. He's powerful. Yeah. He's got a good downhill instincts from everything that I've seen, and a lot of people are kind of saying that he has great vision to go with that. I really like the guy, and this is another guy that I think could be a really sneaky good prospect if teams decide to actually invest first-round picks in running backs. If not, he's going to be a steal for a team coming back around early in the second, I would imagine. His most common comparison that I've been seeing, and I don't know what you've been seeing, but what I've been seeing is Mark Ingram, which I would love to have a Mark Ingram on my team personally. So,
that's not a bad comparison at all, actually.
I like it. CJ, what do you think?
Well, I mean, a spot I can probably see him going to, basically like a spot like Denver. Just getting rid of C.J. Anderson. They bring a kind of a back like that into there. So I can see that. And overall talent, I like him. I like him there.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think they're going to go with a quarterback, but I could definitely see. If the quarterback they want,
I
could
definitely
see them taking him.
I think he'd be this around.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know.
We'll see.
Any other places you think he might land? I really don't know because I've seen so many projections where he just doesn't go in the first round because we don't even see Geis go in the first round. So, then again, I've seen some drafts where
I think that's that.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think that's that running back bias that a lot of people have been having recently where they're like, running backs aren't that great. I could see them possibly going to the Redskins. I could see him going there. Maybe one of those guys that could be considered for the Seahawks. I think he'd fit their system really well. So maybe one of those two teams.
Yeah. I think that the injury is going to scare some teams off, which will cause them to fall, but it seems like he's all better because I've seen actually a lot of mock drafts where we'll throw one more running back out there because this next guy I've been seeing in first-round picks over Nick Chubb, and that's Sony Michel. Georgia running back, 5'10". He's been compared to Alvin Kamara, which is exciting. What do you guys think?
I mean, I've seen him being projected to go to the Eagles in a couple of mock drafts.
I have
too.
as well.
I mean, I'm not that mad about that, especially him in that offense in space and everything like that. He could be pretty dangerous and everything. I mean, I like his game. His tape is good. And I would be more in favor of a more physical back, like a Geis, for me personally. But overall, I mean, he's still a good back.
Yeah, I just think he's a dangerous, third down back. He's a good pass catcher. He's got great balance and power. But I don't know if I would want him to be my lead 3-down back.
Yeah.
He's a great complementary piece, though. But, yeah, I just don't see it. I don't know. Could be wrong. Jason, what do you think?
Well, as far as I like Sonny Michel, I do. I don't think he's nearly as fast as Kamara was, or is, rather. So as far as that goes, I think you're right, though. I think he's a third-down complementary back, and because of that, I wouldn't mind seeing him go in the second round. I mean, I think first round it needs to be for workhorse 3-down back type guys, like a Nick Chubb or a Darius Geis or Saquon Barkley, obviously. But honestly, Sonny Michel he's a nice running back as far as he's a good size, like you said, 5'11", 215. So he can stand to put on a little bit more weight. But overall, he could be a third down back, but he has the ability to be a workhorse back if he puts on a bit more weight. So I think top of the second round, maybe mid-second round.
I could see it, and honestly, I'm not mad at it, and I kind of expect it. So, yeah, let's move on, unless you want to talk about Rashad Penny at all, or do you want to just keep moving?
No, I don't think Rashard Penny. I think Rashard Penny is going to drop into the third round.
Yeah, I think Rashad Penny, Ronald Jones, John Kelly, these are all guys that I have next on my list. Yeah. I think they're all late second, third round picks. So, yeah, we'll move on. Wide receiver position. The number one wide receiver on most people's boards is Calvin Ridley, wide receiver out of Alabama. He's being kind of said to be kind of the best universal route runner. Again, none of these wide receivers are being compared to some of those elite prospects from a couple years ago, but a guy with a lot of upside here. I don't really know how I feel about a lot of these guys. None of them overly excite me because none of them seem like they're going to be that elite, change the team for the better type guy, but a lot of them I think have the upside of being a good 1A / a really nice plug-in number 2 receiver with upside down the line with a little bit of progress and work put into them. And Calvin Ridley, of course, leading the pack. So CJ, or Jason rather, what are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley?
I really like Calvin Ridley. I think he has the opportunity. I think that he's the one guy in the guys we're going to talk about that could be the number one guy somewhere.
I would
that
agree
could
with
be
that.
a number one overall guy. He's silky smooth when he runs. I think I've actually seen that phrase used on him all the time. Silky smooth. He's so silky smooth. And he is. If you watch his tape, he gets in and out of his breaks so quick, so easily. It's almost like it's effortless. He's got good hands, doesn't drop the ball very often. He's a good size. He's somebody that if you've got a quarterback that trusts him and puts the ball where only he can get it, I think you got yourself a number one guy. In his rookie year, probably, like you said, a 1A or even a 2 to start out with. That's why, and like you said, there are a heck of a lot of drafts that have him going to the Arizona Cardinals. And it makes a lot of sense. If the Cardinals don't take a quarterback in the first round, Calvin Ridley would definitely make a heck of a lot of sense for them because they've got Larry Fitzgerald there. They need his heir apparent. And right now, all of the wide receivers that we have, besides Fitz, are good number 2s or 1As. I think Bryce Butler has the opportunity to be a really good 1A receiver, but he's not going to be a number 1. I think Calvin Ridley could be, and if he sits there and learns from one of the best ever, it could be very nice. There's a lot of other places he could go, but I definitely see him going in the top of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to get much past the halfway point in the first round. As you kind of mentioned, I already said before, I kind of universally have seen him going to the Cardinals, and if not taken by the Cardinals, probably the Ravens right after that.
Seahawks, maybe? Seahawks, maybe?
No, because, again, the Seahawks need so much help on defense. I don't think they're going to invest in offensive skill players. Their identity has always been defense. But, I mean, it's possible. They could shock everybody. I wouldn't put outside the realm of possibilities.
Wouldn't be a bad move.
I agree.
Yeah.
It could be a really nice pickup, a kind of sneaky pick for them. I mean, obviously, they're pretty darn devoid of talent right now. I mean, besides Doug Baldwin, what do they really have there? I mean, they have Tyler Lockett. Yeah. Tyler Lockett's flash, but he hasn't been consistent. Marcus Johnson is okay. Nick Vannett at tight end. So, I mean, they definitely need offensive help. And then at running back, obviously, they need a lot of help, too. So, it's possible, but I don't know. I see them linked to defensive players more often, and that kind of makes sense to me. But I'll put it to you this way. He's being most commonly compared to, that I agree with, because I've seen a lot of comparisons, as looking like Reggie Wayne, based on his size and route running, which I would love to have a Reggie Wayne on my team.
I was going to say, that's not a bad comparison to have.
That's the one that stands out to me that I really like. So, could be a great asset, and given a couple years to build a rapport with the quarterback, I think he could take that next step and be that number 1 in an offense. And like you said, Jason, I think he's the one that has the best chance to be that right off the bat, though I don't know if any of these guys will be. I mean, look at last year. The top 3 prospects, none of them did a thing. So, yeah. Next guy on the list, do we want to go with the guy who... I'm going to go with who I have as my number 2, and that's DJ Moore. DJ Moore has been rising a lot, and Cortland Sutton, who's most of the time seen as number 2, has been dropping. So DJ Moore, wide receiver out of Maryland, he is just incredibly impressive. He's being compared to and being called a bigger version of his ex-teammate Stephon Diggs, which obviously has had a pretty decent career thus far. He's quick and defined as being very slippery after the catch, a good route runner. He's got good quick feet. He can make good adjustments. He can contest balls. A lot of things to like about DJ Moore. He's only 6 foot tall, which is kind of concerning, but he's a fast guy. So, Jason, what are your thoughts on DJ Moore?
Well, first off, DJ Moore's 6'4". I'm not sure where you
He's 6'4".
What you were looking at, but
where I'm looking at
he's
has him listed at 6 foot.
Yes, sir.
Let me check another website. Yeah. Now we got an age controversy. Let's find out. You keep going.
That's okay. Well, yeah. So what I have for him is 6'4", 210 pounds. So I like his ability. He just is a really smart receiver. He's really good at route running. He's good at finding seams and holes in the defense. And he's got the height. If my number's right, he's got the height to be extremely good.
Yeah,
in this
I'm
league.
looking on NFL.com prospect measurements at 6'4", so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. Okay. He also runs a 4.42, so pretty fast. I like him overall. I think he's going to go in the middle to late first round. That height is gonna draw some people to him. I could definitely, again, that could be another name linked with my Cardinals, but he could also go several other places that need it. I mean, you can never have too many really good wide receivers. You know, I mean, I could see him going Jacksonville if he drops that far. I could see him going to the Patriots. They could pick him up maybe and get themselves another nice wide receiver to use. So yeah, really he could go anywhere. He's kind of hard to nail down. I've seen him most commonly linked to the Cowboys. That's been where I've seen his name most commonly in mock drafts.
He and a freak athlete, like we said. I mean, he's being he was put in after his combine numbers in the 97th percentile of athletes based on his obviously all the measurables. He's rising in drafts. I like him a lot more knowing that he's 6'4", not 6 foot. As you mentioned, a burner. He's actually that 4 inches makes a big difference, and he is
it does.
The fastest wide receiver out of this top tier, unless you want to include like DJ Chark in the equation, who is a little bit faster 40 times.
I honestly do want to have DJ Chark in that equation. I think he deserves to be a first round pick. I think he could be a first round pick. But more than likely, he'll fall into the second round.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he has the upside, but I think his floor is also a bit lower, which is why I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick. But yeah, that's DJ Moore. CJ, any thoughts?
You guys nailed everything, man. I like the kid. If he could go to a great situation, man, he could be an instant star off the break.
All right. I want to Google a couple more height comparisons, but yeah, that's interesting that there's a 4-inch difference between different websites. That's not even close. But we'll get to that later. The next guy on the list at the wide receiver position, who in a lot of boards was initially assumed to be the number 2, he has been slipping lately in a lot of mocks, Courtland Sutton. So, Jason, why don't you talk about it? He's being compared to, that I agree with most, as being a big physical downfield player, kind of like Alshon Jeffrey. How do you like that comparison?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, he's got the height. Again, another 6'4" guy, 218 pounds. So not overly big, but a good size for a wide receiver. Decent jump. 35.5-inch vertical. That's pretty good. And again, not the fastest guy on the field, though. That's the thing about this guy. This guy's going to be a red zone threat. He's going to be really good for some team that needs that kind of a possession player. He's not going to burn past anybody. He ran a 4.5, 4.40 at the combine. So I like him. I think he's going to slip down toward the end of the first, maybe even top of the second, though, honestly.
I just found another – sorry to derail here. I just found another website that has DJ Moore measured at 5'11". So –
well, that's not right at all.
What we've learned is that we have no idea how to properly measure these players. Jeez, come on. Some consistency would be great here.
That would be amazing.
Good God, come on. Now I don't know. I like the guy. I think he has arguably the highest ceiling in this class because of his size, athleticism, and a lot of things he can do. But he's got a lot of question marks that surround him, and that's kind of the reason why some people have him up at 2 and others have him down. I've seen him down as low as 4 or 5, honestly. A lot of people think he has what it takes to be the next big, like, kind of outside X receiver, and it's possible. Could be a big red zone factor. It's going to depend on where he goes for me personally. I'm torn on this guy. CJ, what do you think?
I'm kind of feel like you. I mean, I'm torn on it too. Depends on where he goes. I like the player. But where he goes, and in the talent that's around him is going to depend on how much of an impact he's going to make this year and definitely future years. So I just, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just hoping for a good situation, man.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at a site which brings up a good point. They're talking about how a lot of players who have fallen into similar measurables and size, speed, athletic comparisons, Corey Davis, Mike Williams, Kevin White, Devontae Parker, Brashad Perriman, Laquan Treadwell, Josh Doxson, all guys that didn't quite become anything as of yet. So that's concerning, and it's a good point, but time will tell. I think it all matters on where he goes. Christian Kirk, do you think that's the next one to talk about? That's who I have down next.
Yeah, Arizona native Christian Kirk.
From Texas A&M. I listed at 5'10" on this website. Who knows what it actually is?
It's 6'2" on mine here. So
Jesus.
These guys need to get it together. This is ridiculous.
Holy crap,
Okay,
websites. Come on.
As far as this guy goes for me, he's a little small. Even if he was 6'2", I still think that's a bit small because he's only 200 pounds. Okay, that's slight. You know what I mean? That's someone who's going to get smashed by the right defensive player. So that concerns me a little bit. I think he's a little bit on the small side. If you watch his tape, he definitely does look a little bit shorter than almost everybody else on the field. So yeah, even if he is 6'2", he looks like he plays a bit shorter. You know, and he's again. His decent speed, 4.47, so that's not anything to sneeze at. 35.5-inch vertical, again, pretty good. It's actually pretty strong, 20 reps on the bench press at the combine. So he's a good athlete. Now the question is, does he have the hands, does he have the ability to be the guy that he needs to be in the NFL? It's really going to depend on where he ends up going. And again, this is a guy I'm going to be looking for in the second round, maybe mid to late second round or top of the third.
I have now found multiple websites. I found one that has him listed at 5'10", multiple ones that have him listed at 5'11", and then NFL.com, which has him listed at 6'2". So what do we learn here? What do we take away from this? I mean, that's a huge difference depending on how they're going to use these guys. Holy crap. I was basing on the assumption that he was in the 5'10", 5'11" range, but NFL.com is throwing a curveball at me now.
6'2", baby.
That's not even the same player anymore. That's a completely different body type. Look, based on the 5'10", 5'11" comparison, which is what I'm seeing more universally, he's been compared to a lot as a Golden Tate, Jarvis Landry type guy, a really good shifty slot guy that could really do a lot of damage underneath, and I agree with that, and I think he could be used really, really well there. I don't know if he has the biggest upside if he was to rotate outside. He doesn't have the best catch radius. He's not the lankiest guy, but I like the upside, and I think in the right offense he could be a great addition. I think he's going to be a number 2 wide receiver, and for fantasy, maybe a great PPR option. But I don't think he's going to be a home run hitter by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
We could be wrong. You want to do 1, 2 more, or do you want to jump to tight end? Because I don't think any of the next guys. I have James Washington next, and then DJ Shark, and I don't think either one of these guys are going to be first rounders.
I already mentioned DJ Shark as somebody that could possibly go in the first round, but more than likely will go in the second or third.
Yeah.
I'd say we move to the tight ends.
All right, let's move on to the tight end position. And I can never remember how to say this guy's name, so bear with me. The number 1 tight end prospect in the draft this year is Dallas Goedert. Is that right?
Guntert.
Guntert? There's no N. Goedert.
I'm messing with you.
Okay. Goedert. Jason, how do you say it?
Let's go with Goedert.
Goedert.
Why not? Because I feel like that's how I've heard it pronounced the most, but even when you watch TV shows and news broadcasts, they even say it a bunch of different ways. So I'm going with Goedert. If I'm wrong, sue me.
Goedert.
Gogurt?
Gogurt.
Who doesn't like some Gogurt? Oh, man, remember Gogurt? Anyway, so he comes into the draft being just a monster. On this website, he's listed at 6'5". What is he on your website that you're looking at right now, Jason? Because on mine, I'm just looking at a website that just does measurables. 6'5", 256. Huh? Is that about right? Do you have something in front of you?
Oh, my God. I'm on NFL.com. They've got him listed at 5'10". That can't be right.
That can't. Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
There's no way that's right.
All right, so I'm going to go and say NFL.com is not right in this grand scheme of measurements because there's no way.
I would agree with you on that.
There's
this is
no
horrible.
way a tight end is 5'10". Get out of here.
No,
All right, so
there's no
6'5", 256, ran a 4.7240, fifth-year senior. He comes out as just a monster. He is usable all over the formation. He can line up in line. He can go out wide. He's good in the slot. He's got an ideal size for all these positions, blocking guys out. He's one of these guys that had a basketball background. We've seen how well that works in the past. So
that was a good idea.
He's being played well. His comparable, which I've seen a lot, but his comparable that I've seen the most, which I agree with based on the tape I've seen, is Zach Ertz, and I think that's pretty accurate. Honestly, I like that comparison.
That is pretty good.
What do you guys think, Jason? What are your thoughts?
Well, I just found his measurables on a different website, and it gave me 6'4.5". And
so
if you
close
watch
enough.
The tape, yeah, he's not 5'10". He's huge.
Yeah, he's massive.
He's a big
Come on.
dude.
It's a big man.
Get your life together, NFL.com.
Get your stuff and get it in a bag.
It's only your job. Come on.
Right? Okay. Right. So anyway.
Yeah, they definitely heard us.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure all of them are listening right now.
The heat of the entire Fanatics fan base is coming at him now.
Strong.
All right. So, you know what I really like about this guy is he's got soft hands. When you see him catch the ball, it doesn't look like a regular tight end catching the ball. He looks like a receiver, a really big receiver catching the ball. His hands just
Calvin Johnson.
He just wraps them around. What's that?
I say for his catch, for me, what comes to mind is kind of like Calvin Johnson personally.
A little bit, yeah. This big dude, but he's got these like really soft hands that can catch that ball out of the air and make it look effortless, almost like a wide receiver. He can catch it over his head. He's got a very wide radius, and like you said, he's freaking 256 pounds. This is a big guy, but he looks like just like an oversized receiver. So yeah, I agree with you. I think he is going to be somebody that is going to come in and be a matchup nightmare. And no matter where you put him in the formation, it's just going to be really, really hard to cover this guy. Because how do you cover a 6'5", 256-pound receiver?
Yeah. CJ, what are your thoughts?
I like him as far as him coming out there being one of the most. I mean, I think you can plug any offense and being that tight end that probably rival what Evan Ingram did last year. Being that instant and breaking that tight end stereotype of them not being productive year one. I think he has the ability to be able to do that going into the right offense. Everything that Jason said is brought his intangibles and what he does as far as route running, his hands, how fluid he is at that position is on point, and he's definitely the best tight end in his class.
Yep, and he creates yards after the catch. He averaged, based on what we're looking at here, 8.5 yards almost after the catch. So that's pretty good production from a huge body tight end.
Pretty good.
I like that. I don't know what else we need to say. He's universally accepted as the top tight end in this class, and will probably be a first rounder. Have you guys, where have you guys been seeing him go most? I've been seeing him go all the way down to the Eagles, which makes no sense to me.
Hey man, hey, that's just abundance of riches there.
I've seen him go to the Saints, which I love.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
I would love to see him go to the Saints, personally. I've seen comparisons where he goes to the Ravens as well. I don't know. Have you guys been hearing anything other that's interesting to you?
Not outside those names.
I think that's where I'm seeing him go quite a bit. Tight ends are difficult because you never know when a team is going to freak out and go, you know what, we need a first round tight end.
Oh, we need a tight end.
Won't. They just To be honest with you, I wouldn't mind seeing him go somewhere like Baltimore. I think you guys could probably use another tight end because you always can use another tight end.
Yeah.
But another place he's going to slide. Okay, and the reason he's going to slide is because he's a tight end. That's the bottom line. But actually, the most common place I've seen him go is the Saints. I've seen them take either him or Hayden Hurst.
Yeah,
and I like Goddard better than Hayden Hurst for them, I think.
I completely agree, and I did see one mock draft where I forget who it was. God, who was it? I think it was an NFL.com analyst. I don't remember which one. But I remember seeing Hayden Hurst going to the Saints and then Goddard not even being a first-rounder. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a really wide disparity amongst people with tight ends, because tight ends is a lot like running backs used to be, where people are like, tight end's not that important, you know.
Well, yeah, all right, we'll move on. So we'll go to the next guy who's widely considered, because we got to get out of here, is Hayden Hurst, the guy we just mentioned. A little bit shorter, a little bit smaller in size, a little bit quicker, and a guy who's looking to be a pro football player, because apparently he tried to be a professional baseball player, and it didn't really work out. But yeah, big guy, athletic, good pass catcher, but man, he's old. He's going to be 25 in this season, so I have to imagine that some teams are going to push him down draft boards because of that, because you're getting less value out of the guy. I don't know where this guy's going to go. I expect him to be a second rounder, truly. But Jason, what do you think?
It's really hard to get a beat on Hayden Hurst, because I've seen him considered the number one guy, the number one tight end, and because he's an automatic leader. Because like you said, he's already 25 years old.
What is your comp for
He's already
him?
been a pro. What's that?
What's your comp for him? Who do you think that he's most commonly compared to? Because I've heard a couple names, and I have one that stands out to me personally, which I could kind of agree with.
Hurst, I guess Greg Olson would be one of the ones that I've heard a lot of people talk about.
See, that's the one that stood out to me, is Greg Olson. I agree with that.
Right. Because he's that kind of a guy, and which, I mean, that's a pretty damn good comparison, because this is a guy that is basically the number one weapon on his team. Hayden Hurst could be that kind of guy. The problem is, again, how long do you have with him? Because he's already 25. He's going to be great for several years. But then it's going to be over, and he's going to be an old guy, and it's not going to take very long. It's only going to take about 5 years before you start going, oh, he's kind of old.
Yeah.
But overall, anybody that gets him is going to get, like I said, instant leadership. They're going to get a guy that is already understands what it is to be a pro athlete, and someone who is extremely talented. So I really like Hayden Hurst. I wouldn't mind seeing him go somewhere like the Saints that like to have that kind of leadership there. And they need a tight end, that's for sure.
Yeah, I could see it, but I would much rather see Goddard go to the Saints. I think he could be the next Jimmy Graham.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
CJ, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with Jason. He got a little more knowledge than this guy with me.
All right, fair enough. Do you want to talk about Mark Andrews, or do you want to get out of here, the third tight end on the list?
Actually, I like Mark Andrews, but I would rather talk about Mike Gesicki, because he's next on my list.
He's next on yours? He's fourth on my list.
Yeah.
So, we can do that. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So Mike Gesicki, former long jumper. High jumper, former high jumper. So the guy can get up. He's a big, tall guy, 6'5", fast, slippery, just a really good athlete. I think that it's going to take a little time for him.
I was just saying, he also played baseball and volleyball, for what that's worth.
Right. So overall, good athlete. Understands how to be an athlete at a lot of different levels, and he's younger. So really, this is like a younger version of Hayden Hurst, other than the fact that I think he's a little bit more athletic, slippery, faster guy, good hands, knows how to box out. I would absolutely love to see him end up with my Cardinals at 47 if he drops all the way into the second round, which he very, very easily could. He's actually 6'6", 250 pounds, so big dude. Very athletic. I really like Mike Gesicki.
I have him at 6'5", which is infuriating that we can't get a consensus. But, I have him as basically the same height, the same size as Gobert, who, again, is our consensus number one. But exciting thing about Gesicki, whatever the hell his name is, we know what we're talking about, Mike Gesicki, is that he is the fastest tight end in this draft class. He ran a 4.5 40. That's for a guy that's 6'5", 250. Holy crap! Good luck tackling him, defensive backs. Now what?
Or anyone?
Yeah. Now he's been compared to Coby Fleener, which is infuriating to me. But
that hurt.
Yeah, but I don't believe in that. I think that he's gonna be a much shiftier guy. I could see. I don't really know who I think he'd be compared to, because that's the one I've been seeing a lot of, and I don't like it. Yeah. Freak athlete, big body guy. He's got really good hands. He set school records for catches, yards, and touchdowns. I mean, he's very talented receiver, and with that frame, I think he could be a pretty decent blocker, so I bet he's going to be on the field quite a bit. I think he'll be a 3-down tight end. Probably, tight ends always take a couple years to develop, so 2-3 years down the line, he could be one of those sneaky sleeper guys that could have a breakout year out of nowhere. And we're well over an hour, but since we already mentioned him, let's talk about Mike Andrews really, really fast. What are your thoughts on him, Jason?
Just a really solid guy. He's a solid tight end. I think someone that's going to slide down. I actually saw at the beginning of this whole process, I actually saw him as the top tight end. I had him at number 1.
Really?
When we first started out, yeah. But he slid down, and the reason he slid down is just because of the freak athleticism of a lot of the guys around him, Hayden Hurst, Gesicki, obviously, and those kinds of guys.
I mean,
not the fastest guy in the world, 4'6", 7. Was fast for a big guy.
Yeah.
And he is a big dude, 256 pounds, big old guy.
Big dude.
Decent hands, better blocker really than a pass catcher as far as I'm concerned. But overall, I think he would fit in nicely about mid-second to early third.
I don't know. I could see him being a sneaky good pass catcher, because one stat that stood out to me when I was doing research on this guy, he has a 15.8 yards per reception average.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I mean, true, he was playing with Baker Mayfield, but still, holy crap. So a lot of upside here with him. And we're not going to get into it, but let's just keep moving. The last guy on this list that I have in this kind of tier was Ian Thomas, and just basically more of the same. Big guy, pass catcher, but I think he's more of a project guy than any of the ones we've talked about. He's being compared to Dwayne Allen, and Dwayne Allen has been meh. So, but a 3-down guy. He can block and he can catch. So, yeah, we did it. We got through all 4 fantasy relevant positions. We're not covering kickers. We would love to cover defensive players. Maybe we will at some point soon. But that's what we want to get in for the show today. Again, this will probably air for everybody, because this is information that everybody kind of needs. But this is definitely coming out for you here on Patreon. If you are listening to the show and you're not a Patreon subscriber, good Lord, and you want to get more content like this, head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Subscribe to the show. It really helps support the show, helps us keep doing what we're doing, and allow us to bring you guys content like this on what is hopefully a weekly basis. So with that, we are out of here. Any parting thoughts, guys?
Oh, guys, man. Draft's coming up.
Draft is coming.
I'm ready.
Right around the corner.
Draft time,
party time. Excellent. All right,
Excellent.
All right, we're out of here, guys. Take care. Have a great week. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.